him. He said, let him look in the mirror and see a victim, and he'll fight him anywhere. Says WrestleMania Backlash. Next we get the Uso versus Alpha Academy. Otis jiggles away from Jay's Westlock. 1D finishes Chad Gable in the 13-minute mark. Otis gets sent over the announce table, which led to basically Otis gets sent over the announce table. Gable hits a nice moonsault. Then the ankle lock gets blocked, and the Usos get the blind tag, double super kick, 1D. That's the end of the match. Piper Niven versus Io Sky versus I forgot she still got that name, Michien. Yeah, I forgot. I didn't know where she been. I forgot she was even on Raw. Let's be honest. We all know who won this match. Io Sky wins this match at like the 8-minute mark. So she's Belair's next challenger. Kevin Owens said he ain't smart enough to face Solo on his own, but what they have done for his entire career, and that leads to our main event. It was a good brawl. This match was basically Owens sudden leg injury, and they played into the idea of Solo having the numbers advantage. And Owens will lose by the Samoan spike because he hits a senton, pop up power bomb, but the knee gives out. Solo blocks the stunner. Jay gets a cheap shot super kick, and then Samoan spike. That's the end of the match. Ugh. Yeah, that's the end of Raw. NXT, oh Lord. I'm so sorry. Alright. Start with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. Hayes said he wanted to talk to Braun about turning on him last week. He said it wasn't no passing the torch because he took it. He said they're going to be facing off for a long time, and Stan delivered just a chapter in the story. He said he wanted to invite Breaker into a fatal 4-way match contenders match. He said he's telling him to enter, not asking. Dragon Lee comes out, says Hayes is talented, but he's coming for the title. Hayes welcomes him to NXT and says, don't ever interrupt me again. But you new here, so I'll give you a pass. Pass. Next comes your boy JD. Madonna comes out. He said that, dang, you ain't even had the championship for a week and you already got took out. You ain't aware. You like basically like he basically was saying like you caught lacking. You need to be more aware. Where like if he can take you out to anybody, I could definitely do that, you know. But he cracks a leprechaun joke about him. Then we get Grayson Waller, who said some stupid people here. Hey, it's like they are, but you're one of them stupid people also though. So, and that basically was a set the competitors for the fatal 4-way match. Okay. Next, Kiana James and Hilaire are arguing. Brooke just nowhere to be found. So Ruko and Danny Palmer were making a TikTok video in a parking lot where your girl Tiffany Stratton interrupted. She's not happy about them being in her space apparently, but she leaves. Next we get a women tag team title match. Alba Fire versus Isla Dawn versus Fallon Hilaire and Kiana James. Good match, went 10 minutes. Kiana James, we're gonna go to after the break. James in trouble, but she has a belly to back fight suplex. Hilaire gets the tag, double down. Jensen tries to bring a loaded purse into the ring. Excuse me. But the referee ejects him and Hilaire tells him to get out. Then Jensen shoves Briggs down and carry James off, leaving Fallon to get backstabbed and senton and to retain the title at the 10-minute mark. So they're gonna come to blows eventually. Brooks and Jensen, they're teasing the fact that like he's gonna really pick the girl that's not using him over once in they're playing this typical like dumb country guy who's like in love with the popular chick and you like do like a bad Snap episode or something like that. Next, your Norman Dar in the Heritage Cup, because you know he bring the Heritage.
Wait, no.
What?
Hold on, you can't get away with that.
It's Noam Dar. No M Dar.
What'd I say?
You said it like it sounded like Norman Dar. That's why I was like, man, hold on.
Oh wait,
Noam Dar.
Well, I call him where Noam, you were not here for a while, so you're trying to come back to Dar. That's what we're gonna call him. Call him. That's the nickname for the moment.
Alicia Falls.
Oh God. Next we get Chase University trying to prevent their MVP award to Duke Hudson. He make a speech about Chase saving the day. Hudson seemed grateful, and Brian Breaker interrupts, saying that everyone wants to hear from him. Breaker said he don't care that he's being rude. He realized that title was a curse. He said he don't need the approval of these scumbags longer, but Hudson should be in the number one contenders match. Breaker goes to leave on to turn around and spear that holy hell out of Andre Chase, then rip the Chase U flag in half. So I think that's what Brian Breaker's next thing is going to be, Andre Chase. Don't know why.
Wait, what? Yep. You took it. Hold on now. We gonna still get out of here in 30. Listen.
I have to ask a question now. Is that not a downgrade? You were the world champion, and now not shitting on Chase U, but now that's your feud is Chase U. I mean, if I'm a champion from this point, I'm just like, fuck it, call me up.
I mean, he was going to be possibly being called up though. Like when they do the draft, his name was probably getting like mentioned. That's probably getting.
Listen, if he go Chase U, you better go full Steiner. I want full Steiner math involved. Because you're at school, right?
Oh God, yes. The university, yes. I need bad math, bad pronunciation of words. I need him constantly hitting on Thea Hale like all the time, creepily, calling her a genetic freak and all that. He did, yes. This is the perfect time you have him run like the old Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner.
Calling all my freaks.
Yeah, man. Next, Gigi Dollars in her childhood home, which is less than inviting. She talked about how she wanted to be loved and escape this place. JC Jane knew that and then attacked her anyway, but she'll never break her spirit. Next, we get shown by somebody NXT anomalous that Tony D'Angelo and Stats got attacked by Pretty Deadly.
Yeah, boy.
And next, we get Javier Bernal versus Eddie Thorpe.
Wait, hold on.
So they got jumped by some cats on some halter tops?
Yeah. They go to the match. Damon Kepp basically watches. Thorpe gets sent outside. Boston Crab Thorpe. Double underhook. Eddie Thorpe wins the match in 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Gallus interrupt Tank Legend's photo shoot, but then they get interrupted by spam. Now this is odd to me. So, you remember we talking about that the Dyad, like they requested their release, right? Apparently they're in the tag team title shot picture now.
That's probably coach him from leaving.
Scripps is ready to expose Exxon. Yeah, okay, whatever. We all know who Scripps is again. It's Reggie with a fucked up ass mask on. Next, so Rucco versus Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton wins this match in 5 minutes. Two athletic women in this match, but she didn't get the chance to really show what she could do as she did in previous matches, which I guess is probably them planning to making Stratton look that much stronger. She still sneaks into the title picture. Duke Hudson is fired up about bringing gold to Chase U. Creed Brothers want Gallus next week for the tag team titles. Tiffany Stratton comes in and say Andy Hartwell is scared. Your girl Cora Jade is back. Well, she was back last week, but she actually back promo. She said it's time for her to start humbling people. She said Zoe Stark can do a lot of present things in the ring, but she'll never be champion. Roxanne Perez is only famous for Jade turning on her. How long is she going to use that to happen to her as a crutch? Gigi Don was close to winning, but she said the title says Cora Jade on it. She's like, then there's Tiffany Stratton, who has the tools, but I run this place. Laura Valkyrie is fearless, but she should fear me. And then Andy Hartwell, who isn't a fairy tale, but rather Jade's NXT. NXT. Valkyrie comes out and accuses Jade of being jealous. This leads to a fight. Cora bails. So that's gonna be Cora Jade next feud. Wesley is interrupted by Charlie Dempsey and your boy Gabagulak.
Gabagoo.
He said he wondered how he handled being tied up on the mat. Next, we get, this was the bad. This.
I got mine this week.
I
got mine this week for you on AEW all in one segment.
Okay, no, never mind. I read that right. It was funny. So, Elo Dragunov versus Von Wagner. Now, if Wagner loses this match, Mr. Stone is done with him. Dragunov wins this match in 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Literally, kick in the head, the torpedo, that's the match. So that's the end of that. Next we get Tank Ledger versus Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey wins this match in 4 minutes with the best for the bells. No, all the best for the bells. That's a long ass name for a finisher move. Like, why? Why that many names? Next we get post-match the Creed brothers and Schism come in to fight. Next, Rodano Perez walks up to Tony D'Angelo and Stacks. They talking about how they're gonna win the tag team titles. Perez says she's gonna get her title back too. Zoe Stark comes in and mocks her anxiety. They still running the anxiety angle. That leads to a match between them, and then when Perez leaves, they get jumped for the second time. By Pretty Deadly. So, Pretty Deadly got him twice. Next is our main event. This is Grayson Waller versus Duke Hudson versus JD Madonna versus Dragon Lee. Winner get a title shot in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I think that's bringing Spring Breaking. I think it's the name of the pay-per-view. Hudson gets knocked out to the floor. Waller's taking over. Hudson with some suplexes. Lee comes out with the low bridge. Waller hits a rolling stunner on Hudson, but he gets dropped. Lee hits some drop kicks. Waller cuts him out. Hudson comes in going crazy, cleaning house. Slingshot German suplex on Lee, but Madonna hit Hudson with a poison Rana. Lee makes the save with a top rope double stomp, followed by another one, which brings Madonna out the corner. Suicide dive on the Hudson. Running shot to JD, face for 2. Lee powerbomb Hudson, but Waller hits the rolling stunner to steal the pin and gets the title shot at the 13-minute mark, man. So, Grayson Waller is back in the title picture. And that is the end of NXT, and that's the end of my shows for the night.
You're lucky in that way. All right, so starting off with AEW, we're gonna start it off right. This one started off immediately with a title match to start the show off with. Excuse me, it wasn't a title match. Excuse me. It was not a title match. The first match to start off the show was Darby Allin taking on Swerve Strickland. One of the first, or very few times I'll say, that somebody came out with a new t-shirt and literally what they're wearing in the pose from their t-shirt is exactly what they have on if they came to the ring. He has on this like mangy ski mask type deal on, and it's the same thing he wore later in the show there in promo, and he also had it on in the shirt. So I thought that was kind of interesting, I guess. This was a decent match between the two, basically throwing each other all around the ring. Eventually Swerve lost his shoe. Darby Allin ended up biting his foot.
Okay.
Yeah, he did. Darby Allin managed to pull out the victory in this one. But at the end of it, of course, making his drop is who? MJF, of course. I like how MJF. I felt this recently too, so I'm glad that he kind of played into it. I feel like the fans are starting to turn on his side, though they know he's an asshole. They dig it, you know how fans are. So he kind of turned against it, and he started to say his catchphrase, and he was like, "No, you shut the fuck up. I'm tired of this." He got tired of people saying his catchphrase. He ain't on that. So Next, he talks to Darby Allin and calls him a headlock. He says headlock takeover. He said, remember that? It's maybe like 30 concussions, but Allen's is not in the level of the devil. Allen as MJF is happy. And anything he's ever done made him happy. He said they met 6 years ago, wrestling in front of about 30 people. Now MJF is the world champion and nothing has changed because all he's got is material things. Allen got a national TV and checked himself into therapy and learned about how much he can do for himself and everyone else. He's an AEW contract. He's helping buy his parents a house and help his dad to retire. MJF says his morals killed wrestling career, and he knows that he might die alone and not go to heaven. Darby Allin talks about his legacy here and how Sting's his best friend here. MJF calls Darby Allin Sting's bitch. And then Sting comes down to the ring, and it's weird because he comes down to the ring and his promo is very all over the place. He mentions something about Cody's daycare, and he said, "Yeah, I said Cody." I guess that was supposed to be because Cody's in WWE, and I get it. So, like, when he was in his, heyday of the Monday Night Wars, that was controversial. Now that's just like skimming the water, so it's not quite the same. But nice try anyway by Sting, the legend, Said MJF had a cheerleader and supporter in Cody, so now he said he's going to be Darby Allin's cheerleader and supporter now. And he kept pulling these pom-poms out his coat. They were like black and white pom-poms and throwing them at MJF. Like, his promo was way all over the fucking place. It was crazy. Like, theirs were concise to what they were talking about. This is Captain of the story and saying pads their life from the first time they met him. And he just comes in and kind of jumbles shit up. It was really weird. Anyway, but he basically summed it up by saying, I ain't got much time left here, but in the time I have left, I know one thing is that Showtime is coming. Since my Showtime is almost over, Showtime for Darby Allin isn't, and he knows he's going to be world champion one day.
My bad, bro.
So that was basically the end of that promo. It was weird. It was on pace, and then Sting came out and kind of got it all over the place, but then they summed it back up and then shit. Jay White has a promo next. Oh wait, no, that's earlier. Sorry, my phone fast forwarded there a little bit. TV title match. All right, good, bad, and ugly, all in the same thing. Are you ready? All right, all in the same. So we get to good because the Tony Schiavone moment comes here shortly, so we'll get to that in a second, and I'll save that. Let's get to the bad. The bad. Do you know who Silas Young is?
That name sounds familiar.
He's been with everywhere. Impact was with ROH for a while. Pretty good wrestler, pretty good heel wrestler. They squashed him in 43 seconds.
Oh.
I'm like, Tom. And he's from Milwaukee, and the show was in Milwaukee. Like, you couldn't give him more time than a squash match. Put him on fucking dark for all that shit. But, I mean, alright, whatever. Anyway, so that was your bad. At first, that was my ugly, but that was your bad. Here's your ugly before we get into the good. So, the ugly part was the fact that, Wardlow had came down to the ring, right? Involving the good part, we'll get to it. There was a car introduced. We'll get to that in a second. We'll come back to it. So that car that was introduced, as I'm telling you about there, buddy. Wardlow took a pipe to the car, was beating it up. It was like a 87 Cutty, clean. So beat it up and then took like a stanchion that they used to like rope off like security. And he threw it through the windshield of it. Then he came down to the ring. Him and Hobbs started to fight, but his security had broke him up, right? But when they broke him up, like Aaron Solo and your boy Court were there helping break him up and everything, right? So eventually, Wardlow ends up, they had this setup on the side. It was very obvious of these two tables that were side by side. Wardlow, I guess, was the plan spot was for him to powerbomb Aaron Solo through these two tables that were off on the side. But he ain't make it through both, good. So he made it through the first, and he threw him with such a force. I think he slapped his head on the second one, because instantly the doctor was down there checking him, because the second one did not break at all. I was like, ooh. That was a bad one. So that was my ugly. Now we get to our good. Did you see it coming around the corner when you was out there?
I think I did.
Fuck Tony Schiavone!
Skill on. Tony, you better be doing it, Tony. You better be doing it, Tony. Tony.
So
I am, Tony. I am.
they introduced the car.
We love you, Tony.
This car was a gift from Court Marshall to
Court. I gotta think of something bad to call him.
It was a gift from him to Wardlow, and I said it like it was 87 Cuddy. And it was like spray painted down to Powerhouse or Monster or something on the side. I think it was Monster or Monstar, like, Space Jam. So it was nice. It was black and red and gold, nice trim. Pulled it up outside. He threatened the valet guy with it. Said if he didn't park it correctly, he might break his neck and have him paying for the car or something like that. Or whatever.
Who, Court Marshall made that threat?
As they're showing it, they're going back into the arena, back to the match. At the same time, Tony gets on, and they start talking about, they're like, Excalibur's like, oh yeah, it's a cool car. Tony comes on and he's like, oh yeah, buddy, got that mother drink.
Okay, Tony. Okay, Tony, I see you.
That's that real mother drink.
That mother drip. Okay.
I was like, okay.
All right, Tony. All right. I ain't mad at you, Tony.
Next up,
Shouldn't be saying that, but it's okay.
probably match of the night for me, honestly. Is a match for the international title between Buddy Matthews and Orange Cassidy. Buddy Matthews was tended to the ring by Julia Hart.
Girl.
Is challenging for the international title. So this comes off the heels of them recently challenging also for the trio title in unsuccessful fashion, Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. This match went back and forth. Eventually, it was won by Orange Cassidy, but the thing was that he was selling his hand the whole time last week when he tried to get off an Orange Punch on Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews had the mask on, which made Orange Cassidy hurt his hand. So he was basically selling like he broke his hand this entire match, and then getting off a couple Orange Punches before he actually finally got the victory. I think he actually got it just kind of still in a roll-up. But it was a good match. It went about 14 minutes, and it definitely went both ways. Yeah, he reversed into a mousetrap to retain. Christian Cage and Luchasaurus are coming. No new development there, really. Next up, they show Orange Cassidy backstage. He's banged up, but said that'd be cool. And the Best Friends come up and said they want to challenge Aussie Open, who just became IWGP Tag Champions on Rampage. So we'll get to that.
They need to stop challenging people. They don't be having the best luck of challenging for titles.
They didn't have best luck in this period. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Next up, Ethan Page comes out to complain about Matt Hardy.
Oh, God.
Isaiah Cassidy and Hardy come out.
What's up with the other one? Mark Quinn? Mark?
I think he's hurt.
Okay.
It's set up a match for the future of Matt Hardy's Freedom. And the rest of the firm.
Matt Hardy's
down,
Freedom.
And they start.
Freedom.
So the rest of the firm comes down and start beating up on Cassidy and Matt Hardy, which is W. Morrissey and Tiger Style. I can't remember his whole name right now. Anyway, so they come down and start jumping them, and then out of nowhere,
No, Jeff Hardy.
Except I was praying.
He would come. He'll still.
Thing you would do as soon as he came out, start going.
While somebody getting beat up again. Come out fast when this time.
Bro, it was the funniest shit when he did that. So I was dying.
This time he realized, like, I can't leave my brother hanging like
I can't let him
that.
get beat up first and then start dancing. Beat down, then dance. So he runs down to the ring with the chair, cleans house. Everybody gets pretty much a chair shot. I think if it wasn't Morrissey that caught it, it had to be Ethan Page that caught the twist of fate. They hug, celebrate, so he's back. Hopefully he has a better run this time with the company.
That's if his ass to stay out of trouble.
They can retire in style and not in trouble. Next up, Blackpool Combat Club. They recap their recent history of violence. Serious Kenny Omega cuts a promo where he promises for vengeance.
Vengeance will be mine.
Never raised his voice the whole time. Next up, Blackpool Combat Club versus Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler.
Oh,
They got destroyed.
I bet.
And they stood no chance. But here's the fucked up part. That was a complete squash. They did not get anything off on them at all. I'm not talking a fucking cold spray, nothing. And yet, they still got more ring time than fucking Silas Young got in his match. 43 fucking seconds. 43 fucking
How much did they
seconds.
get?
3 minutes and 5.
Something ain't right here. Come
And
on,
they
Tony.
both got busted the fuck open.
I'm not shocked by that. But come on, Tony. You gotta do better though,
Like
man.
a motherfucker. Yeah, that one, I wasn't happy with Tony on that one. I was like, that was bad. Post-match, they kept beating him up. But Omega comes down for a stare down. He distracts him long enough for the Bucks climbing the ring. Super kick party and everybody knocking Wheeler Yuta and Claudio out the ring. They start super kicking John Moxley, getting tangled up in the corner. And then they bring in the toolbox. And then they like, fuck the toolbox. And it is hand Omega a flathead screwdriver. They got him lined up. He's about to stab him with the screwdriver. Of course, Claudio yanks him out the ring before he gets stabbed.
Of course he
and
does.
then leave the flathead stuck in the corner of the ring and then on the top turnbuckle.
Right.
So that was interesting. So we'll see how far that goes. Next up is Swerve Strickland. After losing earlier in the show, had a promo. He isn't happy with Darby Allin beating him down, but he said he promised to settle some scores. And he wasn't talking about Darby Allin when he said that. So, after this, your girl was up.
Which one?
Sky Blue. What? No love for Sky Blue? Excuse me. Excuse me. Anyway, Sky Blue and Rio tag teaming here to take on Ruby Soho and Toni Storm. The Outcasts pulled this one out with the Dirty Taxes, of course. Storm Zero getting the pin victory at 6:19. Not enough to win there. They also had the beat down after the show. Before they can get the spray paint, though, Jamie Hayter comes out for the save, the World Women's Champion. Women's World Champion, I was gonna say. And Britt Baker also running also behind it. Then we have your main event of the week. I like the one thing I like about the show that they kept it moving, everything updated with it, and there was some interesting matches outside of my down, which was the whole Silas Young thing going down in Court Martial. Your main event is Limitless Keith Lee taking on Chris Jericho. Jericho put up a decent fight here, but it was basically having to sell the fact that he was totally oversized. I won't say overmatched due to his experience in years in the ring, but oversized in this one. Eventually, Jericho did get the pin, though, at the end of the match because the Coldbreaker got countered into a spirit bomb, but with Daniel Garcia on the outside the whole time. Excuse me. Offering the distraction to the referee, it gave enough time for Swerve Strickland, as we dropped earlier. He said some other scores to settle. Came in, he slapped, came in. I don't know what he had in his hand. He just decked Keith Lee. I think it could. I'm not sure if it was a title belt or if it was Floyd the Bat, whatever it might be. Giving Jericho the pin at about 14 minutes and 4 seconds left. At the end of the show, though, before it ended up being a beatdown or something like that, referee didn't even realize that Swerve was down there. He just kind of took off. Adam Cole comes down to check on Lee, and they kind of walk off together. He gives a quick stare back at the ring. No violence, but we'll see what happens next week. Continuing the story. Moving on from there. Friday Night SmackDown. WWE gave us 4 matches. Now on here, we start the show off with the World Tag Team Champions, the Unified Tag Team Champions, KO and Sami Zayn coming out to a great pop. Sami Zayn making the loudest pop of wrestling right now when the crowd goes, "Let's go!" That's their thing. So they come out talking about how they've been through recent battles and holding off. Everybody's been trying to defend at them for those tag titles. Next comes out The Usos and Solo Sikoa, of course, they interrupt and said, "What y'all bitching about? We held them titles down for over 600 days. It means over 2 years, and we took on all challenges." So they came down to the ring eventually after arguing with each other, trying to get the beat down and get the jump on them 302. But the returning Matt Riddle comes out to make the save.
Bro.
After this, of course, Matt Riddle and Solo Sikoa are made for the main event. Because if you remember back in December, Solo Sikoa was the one that took out Matt Riddle. Next up, we got my boy, Puma Asics, taking on Xavier Woods.
LA Knight. Lost.
Yeah! Taking on Xavier Woods. This is a pretty decent match, but LA Knight's new role is Jobber of SmackDown. Jobber with status. Like, he loses, but he keeps getting, like, status matches. You know what I'm saying? So here's another one for him here. Loses to Woods. Interesting, though. Post-match, Woods is backstage with Francesca. Blowing the horn, going off. And he interrupted Imperium, who were having a conversation with each other. And I guess he made a challenge to Gunther. Gunther didn't answer, but I'm pretty sure that he accepted that challenge. Excuse me. No ladies match on tonight's show. No ladies segment, but no ladies match. Next up from here is then they recap what happened with Solo Sikoa and Riddle. Then we see Sami Zayn talking to Riddle backstage, giving them kind of a quiet pep down. It's like a good cop, bad cop type of situation, we say. So he was a good cop, quiet. Kevin Owens cut in like, man, no, you gotta get riled up. You ready to go out there and beat his ass? Remember he took you out? And that was like basically what he was telling him. Judgment Day minus your boy, White Box. Come down to the ring.
Yeah, he was on Raw with a win. He's not White Pops. I call him.
They basically about to have it in with LWO. Damian Priest is going to do it, talking about Bad Bunny before he gets into the ring. Damian Priest says Backlash of San Juan, Puerto Rico, and Bad Bunny is a guest host. We look at the two talk together on Raw. Remember, we put them to the table a couple weeks. They showed that slow. A couple weeks ago, they showed that in slow motion. Cue the LWO to come out and start to fight. Damian Priest versus Santos Escobar. Santos tries to get a jump on Damian, doesn't work. A lot of distractions on the side of the ring due to Dominic and Rhea, and then you got the members of the LWO on the outside tangling with each other. Eventually, nice move by Zelina Vega, taking out Rhea Ripley on the outside center into the new barricades that they got, the light boards.
Yeah.
But eventually, though, no.
Still was.
Eventually, that distraction on the outside caused Santos Escobar to catch the South of Heaven chokeslam from Damian Priest, lose the match. After that, next you have Shinsuke Nakamura making his return to the WWE, wins his return match against Madcap Moss. Then we have a main event. Prior to that, though, it was something interesting that did happen. So, you have your typical segment with the Bloodline, and Paul Heyman was trying to give the pep talk and relay the word from the Tribal Chief who wasn't there. But instead, Solo Sikoa talked, which he never does. Put his hand on Paul Heyman's shoulder very ominously, like, Tribal Chief.
That's all you need to do, though. That's all you need to do today.
One sentence, that was it. Next up, we have your main event. And though Riddle put up a mad fight, and this is without distraction, this is pretty much straight up. So Sikoa beat that ass. Got the victory with the spike. Because there was some interference on the Bloodline eventually. You know, KO, Sami Zayn came to the rescue for the other side, but that didn't matter. Simone Spike got the victory for him over Riddle. Then he, instead of putting him through the table, he like chucked him over the table.
Yes.
And then flipped the table on top of him.
That was awesome.
So security had to go kind of save him after that.
He went Brock Lesnar. Allah ain't get his title shot.
And that was in the SmackDown. Which leaves us with our last show of the week, which is Rampage. which I'm gonna try to get through quick as my phone reboots here.
Rampage, baby.
This Rampage, baby.
Yeah.
All right, over on Rampage, we start off with the IWGP Championship match for the tag titles. Aussie Open taking on Best Friends. What do you think happened here, Clown?
Aussie Open won.
Yep, Coriolis, 9 minutes and 45 seconds after a double clothesline to set it up. I don't mean to be shitting on it and run through it so fast. It's just like, it's a fait accompli. He's right. They were basically set up to be jobbers. At one point, they were in the world title picture. But I think that point peaked around the time. Remember they had that wild-ass match when Chris Statlander returned inside of the Indian
that's
game.
my girl.
And it was basically Miro and Kip Sabian versus Best Friends, and they had that wild ass match outside with Sue's van and everything.
Yeah.
They ain't been that hot ever since then, and that was almost 2 years ago. So I just gotta be honest there. Moving on from there, our next match is before we get to the next match. Mark Briscoe's next up, and he's not sure he's on the same page as Sanjay Dutt and the company. He's trying to help his boy Jay Lethal, because that's really his boy, but Sanjay Dutt be up to no good. Dutt talks to Briscoe about working together, and even has a shirt with the entire stable's face on it. So we'll see what happens from there. FTR is out in the ring for a chat, talking about resigning with the company for another 4 years. Said when their contracts are up, they are retiring. But they want to go out instead of while they still have it, so they can be looked at as the greatest tag team of all time.
Respect. Respect.
This next match also is one of my favorite ladies I ever see doing it. Actually, before we get to that, there was there was a tag match this week, but your boy wasn't there, so that's why we got Jeff Jarrett second half of that. It says he was there, but I don't remember him being there. Mark Briscoe, Jeff Jarrett, Satnam Singh, and Jay Lethal versus Spanish Announce Project and Jake Manning. I'm assuming the Spanish Announce Project.
Never heard of those guys.
Like El Serpentico and the guy that has the eyeball on his head. You know what I'm saying? I think it's those guys. The guys are pretty serious jobbers.
I'm about to say, yeah.
Briscoe and Company have Sanjay Dutt with them. They brawl on fast. Dutt trips Manning down. Briscoe isn't happy, leading to everything breaking down. Satnam Singh comes in for the gorilla press on the choke slam, leading to the froggy blow on the Jake Manning cat after 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Video recapping what happened in Backpool Combat Club and the Elite. Next up, now this is a match this is my favorite match of the show. You know why? Because that's one of my favorite women's wrestlers currently working right now. Emi Sakura. You may have heard me say her name before. She refuses to have a bad match against anybody. I love her character work. I love how physical she can get in the ring. She can do silly shit in there. She's just a great fucking wrestler. I think she's underrated. She took on Ty Valkyrie. Ty Valkyrie basically got the victory here. But at least it was, to me, a more of all the matches that Jade Cargill's had, she's maybe had 1 or 2 in this whole undefeated streak that were as good as this match. And Ty Valkyrie's been in the company for like 2 months.
Which two matches was done?
It was a while.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No. I got
Jake.
it. Wait, hold on. One of the first 2 matches with Red Velvet, because they did have a good feud at the beginning. And I would say her match she had. Remember Mickey James that came in for like 1 match? Am I thinking of Mickey James? Maybe not.
Thinking Madison Rain.
Madison Rain, sorry, I don't know why I said Mickey James. But they were both for TNA, that's why.
Yeah.
The Madison Rain match I thought was pretty decent too. She gave her a little bit of a fight before the end of faded completing her and taking her out. But
I'm just not the biggest fan. I'm just not the biggest fan of Jade Cargill.
If I had to pick one of her best matches, I'd say something with. I'm not saying I am either.
One of the Red Velvet matches. I'll give you the Red Velvet match. Yeah, that one.
Anyway, great match here between the two. Road to Valhalla picked up the victory though. Led to by a spear by Ty Valkyrie. Oh man, this one sure is happening. Then Holy the Assistant comes out and challenges El Hijo del Vikingo to a AAA mega title shot on behalf of Dralistico. Can't wait to see that shit. That's gonna be awesome. Post match also behind the women's match there. Jade Cargill comes in, slugs it out with Taya, but her baddie breaks it up before she just takes a world of violence to her face too. But behind that, she plants Taya with the Jada to stand tall. So we nice to see where this challenge goes eventually. Probably going to be match or double or nothing. So hopefully she gives her a good challenge. Jericho Appreciation Society comes out and they try to rap about the Acclaim. It was so cheesy, it's not even worth trying to repeat, but they just tried to do their thing. Cue the Acclaim. Castro didn't even bother rapping. He just came down and started whooping their ass trying to take his gimmick.
Dang, that's how you know it's real. My man ain't even spin bars.
So expect us to pick up on Dynamite next week with them having a tag match against Money Matt and the
Coke dealer.
Top Coke guy in wrestling right now. So we can look forward to that next week. As we get on pretty much to our main event moment of the week here on Rampage. They fit a lot into this little Rampage this week. Wow, my phone is zapping right now. Please stop so we can finish the show up. Thank you very much. Great.
Anywho.
There we go. Jungle Boy and Sean Spears are ready for their main event spot. Good to see Mr. 10 back. I haven't seen him in a while. Spears isn't friends with MJF anymore, but he wants the world title too. So he figures if he beats Jungle Boy, he'll get his title shot, where Jungle Boy's trying to make his claims for that also. Pretty decent match where they had a good back and forth between the two. Roll up get Jungle Boy too, but Spears is back in with the Tilt-A-World backbreaker. Spears goes for the cradle, but Jungle Boy stacks him up for the pin at about 9-minute mark to get the victory, and he stands tall as we close the show. So far, I would say that we already know you're probably getting a 4-way for the world title with Pillars at Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Somewhere you're going to get an Eat the Page Matt Hardy match for a release event. Well, that might happen on a Dynamite, but they could put that in the pre-show. I can see that. You're going to get a world title match. Not sure. I mean, not world title, but tag titles. Not sure who and what yet. I'm guessing something involving maybe a rematch with the Guns and FTR to close out that storyline. You're going to get Elite in BBC in some crazy-ass match that's probably going to preempt the main event. You're also going to get Jamie Hayter taking on one, if not two members of the Outcast, I would guess. You know what I'm saying? Since they're talking about they might free reign the women's title over there between the three of them, which would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
So we'll see where that goes. And some more open storylines currently going on Dynamite right now. We're going to get cleaned up. But with that being said, we're going to get ourselves cleaned up and get the hell out of here so we can go watch the playoff game. With that being said, I'm one half for your host. I'm Rob.
I'm Clint.
And this has been Hot Tag WrestleCona. Mr. Simmons, let's get the hell out of here. I hate when it does that. When you leave the screen and then when you have pulled up, just leaves on you. That sucks. So now I gotta sit here and keep talking already.
Damn.
I'm working on getting there. We're gonna get the damn
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
eventually.
Yeah, we'll be right back at this again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Catching up. But a lot of good stuff. You also got an NXT pay-per-view coming. No, it's not a pay-per-view. NXT does their pay-per-views like AEW. They do a bunch of shows on the what's the name, but they don't do their pay-per-views like 3 months. So not pay-per-view, but
There we go.
a lot of matches.
So we'll check you tomorrow with that.
Queen shit, blue chip shit, Noki with the ring, yo.